And we are back with another episode of Farm Sim 25 builds. Today we're building on Goldcrest Valley. We're going to build a massive underground 2-story compound with a full car elevator, guys. You're not going to want to miss this. Now, normally I'd drop a save file with this. I learned that Goldcrest Valley is actually glitched, so I did have some issues with the save file and it is fully corrupted, guys. So unfortunately there is not a save file for this one, but I do have one that I am making on my TikTok live stream right now that will be a save file. That one isn't corrupt. It is just something with this map, guys. Unfortunately, it was very disappointing to find this out, but none of my stuff actually stayed how it should have. So unfortunately, guys, we're gonna have to make do with what we've got, and we will drop the tutorial for now. The other save file on Settlers should be done hopefully by the end of the week here. That one isn't gonna get a tutorial, but they are about the same fashion. I did get the idea for this one from that build on my live, and I did just want to drop a tutorial on how to do it. Now, for starters, we always level our area, and then what I'm doing is raising up an extra pad in the center here and squaring it all away. Now, I did make sure that this is the correct level for the walls, because like I said, we're going to make a multi-level underground compound. Now here is me just kind of positioning where we are going to put this house in the end. This is a lot of groundwork on this save, guys, so on this tutorial, get familiar with your terrain tools. You will be using them a lot. Otherwise, right here, we're just going around painting the outline of our house that we're going to put on top. Then we delete it. Now this gives us a good base so that we know how big we can make our compound. Right here is me deciding, how do we want to attack this? Where is our entrance going to be? We do end up doing 2 entrances on this one, so that is something that we don't usually do. So like I said, this is going to be a little bit of a different one than we normally are used to. A little bit bigger, well, definitely a lot bigger, but that car elevator is the main thing. Now we do use a lift for that, just a regular car lift. You can find that lift by searching IKAS or IKAS, or just simply by searching lift. Now if you search IKAS, that is going to pull up the house that we're putting on top. That house on top is going to be the new Barndom by IKAS. Now you can see here, we're just taking our time going through all of this, making sure that those corners are all nice and neat. Right here's me deciding, you know what, let's do another entrance. So boom, we get that straightened out here. Like I said, guys, we're doing a lot of land sculpting on this one, a ton. I would honestly say this one probably got more terrain sculpting than any other save I've ever done. Now I decided that this big platform that we put it on doesn't need to be that big. We don't need that much room. We are going to need a ramp going up, so we are going to kind of make that little jut out there just to compensate for the ramp that we are going to have to build. Once again, we don't need all of this platform up there, so we're going to cut this a little bit smaller. Whittle down the area that we're going to have to make look actually really nice, you know what I mean? So right here, we're just going back around, straightening up all these corners and edges, making sure everything is straight, nice, and neat. Once again, this is the most time-consuming part of it. Honestly, more than anything, but this is the most important part. The better job, or better of a job that you do right now, the easier it's going to be later on. And the better it's going to look, quite honestly. So the issue with Goldcrest Valley that I found is when you use retaining walls, garage doors, fences, things like that, they actually just disappear. When you leave the save and things like that and shut down, it actually just all fully disappears and you're left with a conundrum. You'll see at the end of this video when we reveal how it all looks, you'll understand that, yeah, we lost a lot, unfortunately. So right here, we're going to make the slope. So I'm going to set the slope 2 point up there, and then we will bring it on up. I kind of like these little jut outs on the side there. I think that they look really nice for putting like grass and kind of lining with the retaining walls, it looks really fancy. Give us that grand entrance, you know what I mean? Now with this build, we actually didn't use as many slots as I thought I would. I honestly thought that we were going to use a lot more slots in this build, but we actually didn't. I was very, very, very impressed. Now we are going to pull out our walls here just to do some quick measuring and checking. Remember, you want that wall to be a little bit lower than the size of your man cave. The lower they are, the better. If they're not low enough, you will have them sticking out of your ground in the end. So since we're doing a little bit of a different shape on this one, this does get to be a little tricky trying to decide how we're going to lay things out, but we do end up figuring it out in the end. Once again, we're just going to go back and forth, making sure that everything is nice and neat, squared away, and looks good. Like I've said many times, it's all in the prep work. If you take your time on this right now, it's going to look better, feel better, flow better, and everything will cooperate better. This is just a level tool here, and keep in mind, guys, if I'm using a mod or anything like that, like placing something that you guys want to know what it is, the bottom left-hand corner there, it has some green text. You can actually see it on the screen now. It says decoration pack. That is actually the mod pack that you would have to download to get that mod. So keep that in mind, guys. You can see here, this is just called lift. Now, once I place that lift, I do like to run down there. Just make sure that everything is level and going to work properly. If this doesn't line up, you're gonna shoot yourself in the foot later. So I start with the lift for the car elevator just to make sure that we get it to the right height. So here's me trying to level down that area to make sure that we actually do get that target height set. Now with that lift in the way, it does kind of make this a little tricky, but that looks pretty good to me. So we'll delete that lift, come back here and kind of start working the ground. Now, I was going to go all the way around and completely re-level everything on the outside, but I figured that might make it tricky for the walls later because that's already perfectly measured for the walls. So what we decide to do here is actually kind of rework that ground and make it slope down for that angle. So right here is us attempting to make a slope. Now it kind of acts a little weird and it didn't really do what I had wanted perfectly, but it kind of started. So you can see here, here's kind of just trying to work it away. We're going to hit it with the soften tool very lightly. Try and level all that out. Now it kind of got that ripple there. Didn't like that. So we're going to go back, flatten that out again. It's a lot of back and forth, guys. It really is. Since that slope didn't work here, what we do is we just bring it all the way up like this and level out this inside area down just a hair. I didn't want to go around the whole outside of this since it was all level at one point there, but this did work out pretty nice to just lower that area. And then what we are going to do is kind of hit it with that slope again. Just try and get this to slope downwards just a hair there. You can see we got a pretty good entrance on that. This one didn't turn out too bad either. There's a little bump there, but that's pretty easy to take care of. We'll just hit that with the soften. Otherwise, it looks pretty good to me. Now, time for our retaining walls. We are going to do these next. Now, this is the tricky part, is deciding where to put them. This is actually my second time building this, unfortunately, and now the save file is corrupted, so we got to do it a third time. But the first time that I did this, I lined everything with these retaining walls, like insides and everything. The problem with that is when I went to put the building on top, the white retaining walls kind of stuck through the ground, and it just didn't look great. I didn't love it. So I did end up deciding to fully redo this entire save after literally having everything done. But I did learn that these retaining walls do kind of stick through and can be kind of tricky. So I was way more careful on this save and took my time. Like I said, make sure everything's squared away and looks good, and look at how much better it already looks. Once we start putting grass down and actually painting, it's gonna look phenomenal out here. But like I said, take your time with this. I have this video extremely sped up for purposes of you guys don't want to watch a 3-hour long video. So it is sped up, obviously. But if you take your time, it does tend to work out in your favor. Boom. We are outlined. Now, our next order of business is let's make sure that our gate is going to fit and work. So we keep getting this collides with another item. You kind of have to be careful about that, but right there it actually did fit. Now these are the garage doors that for some reason only on Goldcrest Valley, from what I've found, actually do disappear, unfortunately. So be careful with that, guys, if you are playing on Goldcrest Valley. Like I said, that was a very unfortunate, disappointing thing. Now, since I'm building in a dedicated server, I am using, I do have to sometimes paint up those little glitched areas. That's just a visual glitch, but if you paint it with a different color and then repaint it again, it'll be fine. Here we're going to start lining up our concrete walls, guys. I do use snapping for this, so if you use snapping, it does make it a lot easier to place these walls and get them lined up properly. So I would recommend using snapping, and it is kind of tricky here. You kind of have to just work them back and forth and get them lined up so that things actually look good. Now you can see here, that's where I am lining them up and raising them up to be the correct height for the flooring and walls. You don't want to go any higher than that, but you also don't want them too low, if that makes sense. For this back wall here, we are going to do a retaining wall. I just think that that would look really good. So we are going to throw that retaining wall there. And then we need to finish out walls. We need to throw that lift in. We're going to get that car elevator started and all of that, guys. Throw those walls down, boom, boom, boom. Like I said, use snapping. Snapping will always be your friend. It makes everything so much easier. So keep that in mind and don't be afraid of it. You can see here, I pounded through the walls. This is one of, in my opinion, the easiest parts is the walls. I don't know why, I find them easy. But once again, like with the retaining walls and all of that, just take your time. It doesn't take a ton of extra time to have it perfect, so you might as well put a little extra time into it now and have it look better later. You know, you'll feel better about it if all of these walls are lined up and look really, really good. We got really lucky there. It let us butt it right up to that other one. Sometimes it doesn't do that. So we did get lucky right there. Boom, boom. Throw them down. We will swap to the shorter one here, kind of make a little pillar looking thing, and we'll throw another one, a couple more there to kind of block that up and fill in this wall. Like I said, it can be tricky, but it's totally worth it in the end. I did end up throwing these like this here, and we kind of created a little ledge there, which I didn't think looked terrible. Alright, let's throw our lift in. Now I am using the lift wide tall for this because then you can fit pickups and stuff like that. We'll give it one last check here just to be sure. Boom, perfect. You will easily be able to drive across there without falling in. So now we're going to go back to our concrete walls and build our elevator shaft. Once again, just take your time with this, but it's not too hard. You can see here, we just kind of slap them all together like Legos, quite honestly. Just boom, boom, boom. Now, under these panels, it is invisible. So if you do place them like this, be sure to maybe either place something under it to kind of hide that, or just know that you might have a little bit of invisibility showing through. That's also why we use bridge pieces to, block the ceiling. Just so it's not invisible. You don't want to be in your underground man cave looking at the sky. That just doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? So keep that in mind. Otherwise, it's not too bad. Just throw down that modern wall set garage door. I like to use that one. I think personally it looks better doing that. Then we are going to use these cinder block walls to kind of create a header here for that opening. I've just found that these work really good. They don't look goofy. I mean, they're not perfect. They kind of stand out, but compared to some of the other things I've seen, if you can't fit the bunker silo pieces in there, this is honestly, in my opinion, the best bet. They do take up slots, but if you look at our slot count right now, we're actually not even denting the slots at this moment. We have all of this done. That's the thing, guys. Everyone always asks if it's practical to build a man cave. It's as practical as you want it to be, right? So the more stuff you add, the less practical it's going to be, obviously. But like this one right here, I mean, we didn't use up nearly as many slots as I thought I would on this build. I was actually pretty happy with how this all turned out in terms of slot count and usage. Now we are going to throw some wall lights on. I tend to forget lights, so we are going to throw those down now. With the lighting, I just use the placeable wall lights mod. And then find the best positions for them. Sometimes they work and cooperate, sometimes they don't. But just get some in there. No one really ever notices them. Now that I said that, you're going to notice them, but that's okay. Alright, so I like using the placeable warehouse object mod. It gives you these really nice pallet racks. I like using those. So I do decide we're going to make a little workshop down here for this area. And this lift is just decoration. This one does not work. Everyone always asks me where I got it from. It's just decoration, guys. But we'll run through, find all of our decorations that make it look like a shop and things like that, and just start placing them. You know how it goes. This is me trying to decide if we can fit another pallet rack there, so we do put it over on that side instead. It's all random though, guys. Just search through, look at all your decorations. I'd recommend downloading all the decorations first off, but just search through them. Look around, see what you've got, see what you can do, see what you can use, you know, and place them. That's all you gotta do. It's pretty easy to delete them, so if you do place something that you don't like, just delete it, move on. Now once you put the roof pieces on this and the bunker silo pieces and all of that, it's not so easy to move on. So take your time with this, guys. Look through, make sure you've got everything you possibly could want, and go from there. I like to work area by area and then jump around. If I start to feel like one area is starting to get pretty full and I feel pretty satisfied and I can't really find anything else, I'll pin that place, you know, in the back of my mind, and then start working somewhere else. Is kind of what I do. Now I'm trying to decide some lift orientations here. I didn't hate this layout. Throwing a couple lifts down here for storage with some benches, but you know what? No, we don't want that. We're gonna do a waterfall. Because why not, right? Now, like I said, I like to try and make it look just, you know, cool. If you were super rich, you had an underground bunker, massive bunker, what would you want in it? A loft, an eating area, a place to sit and look at your cars and creations, you know? Water features, all of that. So we're just gonna throw rocks around, throw down that waterfall. We do have to paint the inside here. I've been using rock paint for the indoor waterfalls and like water features. And then we will go and grab our natural water, river, and pond pack and grab our pond. Make sure to get that all lined up nicely and then go and check your work, guys. Make sure there are no gaps when you're walking up to it. It is pretty noticeable if there are. And then just keep cycling through them decorations. Now this is just a decoration car, but we can put it up on that lift, kind of make it look like we're working on it. When you're down in the man caves, it's sometimes going to give you that flattening failed. If it does, I'll usually back out of whatever I'm trying to place, move it up to a flat area, not in the underground part, reselect it, and usually that flattening failed goes away. Now, like I said, I want to build a loft, a viewing area, hangout area, but the layout's kind of goofy and I wanted to be able to see the waterfall. So we kind of actually make a little platform like catwalk. And over here is actually going to be where we hang out. So we will throw some railings down here. Always got to have the railings. And then for that door, we use the Asian clay wall with foundation. Now, Asian clay wall with foundation is actually a base game wall. The door is technically just a gate. So if you can make that fence work, it works as a really, really good door. I do really like that one. And you can see here, if I try and put these walls here and make a little hallway, it's going to get a little narrow. And I didn't love that. So we're going to go back and try and replace this bridge piece. Get it to stick out just a hair further there so it's a little wider, and when we place our walls, it doesn't completely take up your entire walk space. And bear with me, I've got some ideas here. You'll see what we're doing. I feel like it'd be too much if it was all open all the way down and around. So I go around and place some shorter walls, some long walls, and kind of close up some of these areas here. And this is another one of those just base game decorations. I don't really know what it is, but I use it as railings. I've found that this works as a pretty good railing or fence, anything like that. If you can't place a fence, because it won't let you place a fence on top of a bridge, those just work really, really good for it. Now this is part of additional decoration package. It's a chair, but I have found that if you use snapping and glitch them together, you can kind of make it look like a sectional couch. So I do typically do that. We'll throw a little TV there. And scroll all the way to the bottom for the bases for our counters. Oh wait, never mind. Sorry, got ahead of myself. We'll get to those in a second. We're going to place some of these flower pots. Normally I'd use the red ones. The red ones are from Highland Fishing DLC. This one I tried not to use any DLC packs or anything like that. So I'm using these base game flower pots here. We're just going to kind of line all of these little railings. Adds a little more life to it. Alright, let's get a little seating area. Boom, boom. Throw some chairs down. Now, there are tables that have chairs already positioned around them, but I kind of like to place chairs myself. Make it look like people didn't push them back in necessarily. Now, since I didn't put lifts down at the bottom, it's just kind of a big open parking space. We are going to throw one lift up here just so that you can have some extra car storage. There's also a ton of storage upstairs, so I'm not too worried about a ton of car lifts. Realistically, you can put all the lifts in the world, but you're never going to use them all. This is part of the stone decoration pack. I found that these work really good as like cabinets, quote unquote cabinets for like countertops and a kitchen. Here's an old stove. It'd be cool if there were actual fridges and stuff that you could use. Now this is part of the placeable dairy farm package. These are just kind of these little grates, but they work decent for countertops if you can get them to line up right. Can be tricky, can be a pain, but they work pretty good for countertops from what I've found. Boom, got those placed. And there are our counters. Now, I like this entrance to the garden from the garden decoration pack. I love using these. I use them all over the place on my saves, guys. So we'll just place those all around here and make little viewing windows, I guess you could call them, to look at the shop, the waterfall, and all the other areas of your man cave. Let's do a quick walk around, check out how it all looks. There's that elevator putting in work, garage door working, this door works, walk all the way down and around the hallway. Pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Alright, we'll throw another one of those down. Let's go back to those bridge pieces and see if we can put a small roof on this, or like ceiling, to kind of close this off a little bit more. I found even though you're going to put bridge pieces on top of this, you can still tell a little difference. I really like how it looks. So we'll throw that there. Now we've got this little awkward area here, so we were trying to decide something to do with it. It's a weird little area, right? I mean, I should have maybe tried to soften that and just lower it so it was like slightly sloped. Instead, we're going to try and throw these down as railings. Didn't like that though. Like I said, it can be a little tricky trying to get this stuff all to line up and look good. It's a lot of trial and error, guys. Everyone always asks how I think of this stuff. A lot of it's just messing around, placing, trying, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work. Pretty good with that. I couldn't think of anything else to do with that area. So we just put a little chest table there. We're just going to throw some decorations down to kind of fill out this pallet racking as well. Cover that space up, you know what I mean? Clutter it up, as we like to say on TikTok. Alright, let's throw down some ceiling pieces, guys. Now once again, get these lower. The lower you get these, the better. So you can see here, I took my time. I'm like slowly moving it up and down, glitching it in, trying to get everything as level as possible and keeping it below ground. That's the important part, okay? That is the important part. Keep these below the ground. Everything in your man cave should be under the ground. You can see there's actually like, I mean, in real life, that'd probably be a couple inch gap, right? Between the actual ground and the ground around where the house is going to go. So just keep that in mind, be careful, make sure it's all good and lined up properly. Next, we're going to use the bunker silo pack. These are nice. Be careful when you place these. If you don't place these with free mode, you can't delete them. But they do snap together, so you can see here I got one lined up, and then it's pretty quick work. So just be careful with them, get them lined up nicely, and place them. I try and keep them as lined up as possible. It's kind of tricky because they do like to snap together, but these are invisible underneath, so you can't just end with these. You have to place the bridge pieces first. You can see here, we completely hid all of those bridge pieces. And boom, there's our house. Now let's go check how it all placed and how it all looks. Look at this. What a grand entrance up here. You can see there's no ridge or anything weird. Garage doors open fine. There's nothing glitching through. Now, if you did want to put things in that garage, it could be a little tricky and fight you, so keep that in mind. That can be a little tricky to mess with. Next, we're going to have to start figuring out our driveway and how we want to do all of that. We're just going to quickly paint all this up as grass so we don't have to think about it or worry about it. Now, I just picked the normal concrete for this one. Normally I'd use the asphalt because it gives you a black driveway, but since we use all of these concrete panels from the bunker silo pack, I figure it matches better with the concrete. So we do use concrete. And I was going to leave some grass on the edges here, but I just kind of thought that it felt weird, so we just made one big giant concrete driveway. I don't know. Like I said, there's one of those visual bugs from using a dedicated, unfortunately, but not a huge deal. Pretty easy to sort and solve. Let's throw some grass down. Now up near the house, I am going to use short grass. Just, you know, we mow it, we keep it looking good, looking nice. Down where trees are going to go, we're going to use longer, tall meadow grass. But that's all preference. I mean, the tall meadow grass you can mow. So that is one nice thing. If you've got sheep or goats or something like that, you can actually mow that grass, feed it to them, and that's like a free way to have animal food. But like I said, I kind of like the vibe of having short grass around the house. So we're going to use short grass around the house, tall grass everywhere else. And I found that if you paint the grass before you do the roads, it kind of lines up better and just looks better. So we're just going to kind of quickly go around here, paint a lot of this stuff. And I did use short grass here. I do end up going back and putting long grass. I'm trying to decide how we can make this look even better and kind of create a barrier, right? You don't want people falling off. So we're going to use the hedge pack to go just outline these little areas here, but it completely transforms it, right? So since I have those bunker silo pieces, it's not going to let me place the hedges on top of them. It will up to a point, but it's not going to let me everywhere. So we've got to figure out a way around that. What will we ever do? Alright, so this is the point where I look at the ground outside and I go, okay, there's no way I'm going to soften that and have a nice, easy, drivable area. So I go crazy with the raise lower tool, and then we just start softening it. What that raise lower tool does is obviously raise the ground. The soften tool takes, like, imagine, well, if you see these bumps, right? It takes everything in that circle and just spreads it out. Disperses it evenly. So when you raise up the ground like that and then hit it with the soften, it tends to actually create a flat, nice, natural looking roadway. It does look crazy right now, but you put enough time into this, you can actually sculpt the ground very, very well. You can see here we just added a little material up here. Once again, it looks crazy, but that's okay. Once you hit it more with that soften and go really, really slow over it, you can see how it actually started kind of creating a nice rolling hill, right? It's not aggressive, it's not extreme, it's just a nice rolling looking hill. Like I said, guys, there's a lot of terrain work on this save, a ton of terrain work, and unfortunately, like I said in the beginning of the video, this file got corrupted, and it's just something with this map. I have checked my other save files, and they've all been fine. It's just a Goldcrest Valley thing. This is a newer map. Hoping that they sort it, and once it is sorted, all my stuff will be fine. We'll see. We will see kind of how that all works out. Now you can see here, we're going to make 2 entrances. We have 2 garage doors, might as well, right? Just kind of clean that up a little bit. Does not have to be perfect, guys. It really does not. But you don't want it looking completely out of line either. If it's completely out of whack, people will notice. Just do your best. Take your time. It'll all end up looking good in the end. It always does, guys. I don't like those big triangle corners, so I do kind of patch those up a little bit and round them off just a hair. Boom. Look at how good that looks. I'm thrilled with that. Now we're going to go back with that tall grass again. And this is where I decided to actually fully go back and put tall grass in everywhere except for right up next to the house. I just felt like it looked better. So here's me going back around the outside over here. Trying my best not to get grass where we don't want it, and that's super important, guys. So I kind of chunk, tackle, repeat it, you know. I will make a little square, kind of knock out that square, outline it, and then just work it in smaller until it is all gone. Remember, X or square while you have out the grass tool will delete where you just painted. So if you know, within reason, if you get it on the road, you're just out of luck. But if you accidentally get some somewhere that you don't want it, press square or X on your controller, and it will actually delete the paint that you just put down, so that, or the grass that you just put down. Now we're back to our little railings, right? I use these things everywhere, but these actually did line up really, really nice, and they worked out pretty perfectly for what I was going for. Like I said, you can place these anywhere because they're technically a decoration. So use snapping and just get them lined up, glitch them together, try and keep them even as much as possible. You'll be fine. With there being a giant, you know, hole directly under us, it does kind of act a little goofy in certain spots with your camera, but that's okay. You can see, like, when we get over these garage doors, it tries to drop down. Boom, there we go. We have a full railing all the way around. No one's falling off now. I did kind of want to throw that up there. You can see the mountains from up there, so figured, you know, give ourselves a nice, beautiful little view. And we'll just start running through some decorations. I was going to put some statues up here, but they seem kind of small and just didn't really fit right. So we didn't. We skipped that. Not a huge deal. Throw a picnic table over there for now, but we are going to end up swapping that out. Throw a little rock bed there for a tree. And just keep cycling through those decorations, guys. Throw a little grill over here. You never know. You never know. Think about putting a trampoline on the concrete, but we didn't. So this set gazebo I was talking about, this is part of the big decoration package. I did decide that we were going to throw this over here, just so you can look and sit and hang out and vibe, you know what I mean? Throw a little grill over there. And some flowers. You know me and my black flower pot. I love that thing, guys. You know what? Let's throw a few of these down. I'm not going to go crazy with them, but we are going to do one wall of them just because I think that it kind of matches the flower pot that's already there. With all the flowers downstairs and things like that, you would think that these people would have some nice landscaping and, you know, some nice features. So we do throw those down there just to kind of break it up. And then we decide to throw that covered little table over there. Love it. But we're almost near the end, guys. Throw a few of these water gates down right at the entrance of our garage doors. Now I did learn that the garage door has to be open. Place is a lot easier if the garage door is open. Icus always kills it with his houses, as everyone knows. He's the king of placeables, but quite honestly, I find it cool that they always fit perfectly in these little spaces like that. I love that so much. I was going to place this statue out somewhere, but I couldn't find a good spot for it, so we didn't. And then we joked around with the idea of putting a pool out back. Didn't love that idea either. Need our mailbox out front. Look at how beautiful this is looking, guys. It wouldn't be a normal property if I didn't put a pond somewhere, right? So we're going to lower that ground a little bit, hit it with that soften tool to raise it up, put some rock paint down, and place our water. This is just small little puddle guys, nothing special. We just want a little bit of, you know, something for our front yard. You could technically put that statue in here if you had wanted, things like that. But you can see there as I moved around, that gap was showing, so we have to come from the other side to really fill in that water. If you wanted, you could throw some decoration rocks down or anything like that. I didn't do any of that personally. This is part of the natural water plants mod. I just like how these look. They just fill in this spot really, really well. And we'll just throw a whole bunch of these little tall grass weeds around. I do typically go and just kind of spray them everywhere in where the trees are going to go. This is all going to be a treed area. I don't know. I found that they look really good, and that's what a lot of the map makers do on the starter farms. I mean, they're probably not in a line like this. I was just quickly going through and placing them, because once you put trees down, you're never going to notice that those are in a line unless you're in construction mode. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. It'll always end up looking good. Throw a few bushes down as well. Right here, I'm trying to see if they added the base game bushes. I couldn't really find it, but I do really like this yellow one. By base game, I mean base map, I should have said. Base map bushes that they're using, those little green ones in the trees. I like to match stuff as much as possible. It's not always possible though. There's some more bushes down. It always looks crazy, guys. Always looks crazy. But once you throw the trees in, it looks so much better. Right here, I was trying to decide how we could make this look a little better as well. So I decided to make it like a little landscaping bed. Now, I think, you know, if you really take your time on something like this, it would look incredible. I didn't put a ton of time into this. I just kind of wanted to show you guys that this is something that you could easily do on any of your saves by using that curb fence. And then using some forest ground paint. So it's really simple what I did here. I didn't go too in depth with the landscaping. Like I said, guys, I just did this as an idea to show you guys that you could technically do this if you had wanted. But we'll throw a few bushes down and put a tree in there just to kind of show you guys that you can do this. It's very easy to do something like this, and it does kind of add a little wow, that actually looks really nice. Takes up a ton of space as well. If you've got some dead space that you don't know what to do with, this is a good area for that. Like I said, I made this a little bit big, and I just kind of rushed through this. I didn't take a ton of time. I'm not a landscaper. I just play the game. So we're gonna throw a few trees down here, a few other things. I'll just throw one tree up in there. Like I said, take more time with it than I did. I was towards the end of this and had some stuff going on, so we just quickly pounded through that. Didn't do anything too extreme, but we are going to place some of these downy service berries. Incredible though. Incredible. I'm so thrilled with how this all turned out. Like I said, guys, this is supposed to be a save file, but as of right now, Goldcrest Valley does not work properly. Hopefully they update it in the future. My file will be fine. I have some doubts and fears on that. I'm really glad I recorded this at least. So I am going to post this tutorial. Obviously, if you're watching this, you know that. Otherwise, guys, we'll have another save file with a build like this, just on a different map. I'm sorry, I apologize about that. Not much I can do though. If it's a glitch with the map, unfortunately I can't help that. But we're just gonna place a ton of trees down like crazy, make it look like a nice little forest here. But wow, look at this, guys. This is our build. Technically 4-story compound, 2 underground, 2 above ground. Beautiful, beautiful entranceway. Absolutely gorgeous. I am thrilled with it. Alright guys, if you haven't already, if you like what you're seeing here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit that like button, guys. And come hang out. I stream Monday through Friday on TikTok live at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. Come hang out, guys. Learn something. Let's build together, grow together. Otherwise, guys, until next time, I truly appreciate each and every one of you. It has been so much fun the last few months, and I cannot express how much it all means to me. So thank you, thank you, thank you, guys. I hope you have a wonderful night, and drop a comment if there's more that you'd like to see or something else that you'd like to see. Otherwise, guys, have a good one.